All right. Hello and welcome back to Earn Playbook. It is good to have you all back with us. We are excited about today's topic, which is practical money steps. So, we're going to be talking about how to actually open a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA. And if we have time, we'll make some time to talk about smart money moves and a little bit about side hustles. But before we get into that, I want to welcome my co hosts, Jeff and Kojo. How are you both doing on this wonderful World Cup month? How's everybody?
We are doing great. It was good to see you at Ghana England game. I
Yes.
thought it was a great vibe. Yeah, I wanted us to win, like score England so bad, but it is what it is. We ended up with a goalless game. But aside that, it's good. I have good faith in Ghana tomorrow, but it's a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
Yeah.
so far, the World Cup has been great.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it was good to see you too. That was awesome. Kojo, what about
Yeah,
you? What's good? What's new?
I
How you
mean
feeling?
the World Cup was fun. It was great to kind of go to the game and see you guys. We had a great time. Um, England, Ghana. I mean, for us, considering where the Ghana team is, I think for us it was a great result. I'm very proud of the team. I know people expect more, but for what the team was doing prior to this World Cup, I think this is them really, really achieving, punching above their weight, and I'm excited for the game on Friday. So let's see how that one goes.
Yes, I'm excited too. I got my nails done, guys, and it is the Ghana flag.
Oh,
Beautiful,
that's
Had,
nice.
beautiful.
That's
had
nice.
to rep a little bit. I'm gonna have a little watch party tomorrow too. So, of
Nice.
That's
course,
what's
You should
up. That's
probably
good.
paint
As
your
you should.
you
you guys
paint.
are welcome. All are welcome.
Yeah, we're gonna make the drive down. Don't worry.
Yes, come through, come through. All right, so let's get into it. So before we get into like just a step by step of like opening a Roth or IRA, what's one money move you wish someone would have told you to make earlier in life? And we'll start with you, Jeff.
Yeah, so I would say probably investing, and I think it's
Mhm.
one of the biggest hack that if you started early, you can at least get ahead of yourself. But
Mhm.
unfortunately for us, we didn't get to really know till in our 30s.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We didn't lose anything. Yeah, we lost some money on the table, but I feel like if I knew prior to this in my 20s, it would have been like a very good game changing. But as I said,
Mhm.
it's okay that we got to know more about this in my 30s. So yeah, that is probably one of the biggest regrets if I had knew uh, investing earlier in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. I have to say the same for me too. I wish I would have done it. I mean, outside of my 401k, I did do that, but I think just getting into the stock market, like with a brokerage account earlier, I would have loved to have done that. So I agree. Kojo, what about you?
Yeah, it's probably the same. I think they all say it right. It's time in the market, not time in the market. So I think investing early and often and basically dollar cost averaging when you can is super, super critical. So for me, and the funny thing is, it's not like I didn't know. They told me. I was just stubborn. But kind of just getting a better understanding of what that could do for you and how compound, interest does this heavy lifting, and it's all due to time and just trying to do it often and just keep doing it. So hopefully, with this pod and with this message, people can understand that it doesn't even matter even if you're in your 30s. Honestly, you should just start at some point and just keep investing, and hopefully that can really make a difference.
Agreed. Totally agreed. It's time in the market, and they say the best time to start is now, or was no, it's the best time to plant a tree is now. So you can always start, which is oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Oh no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say it's a great segue into our conversation. And what we wanted to do is often like we throw around these terms like do this, do that, open this, but we don't actually give like you the breakdown of like how to do that. So we want to simply talk about the difference first between a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, and then break down like how you actually open an account. And really, the difference with a Roth IRA, the way it was explained to me, is that you pay taxes now, so you never pay it again. So essentially, like the Roth IRA is you contribute after tax money, so it grows tax free, and withdrawals in retirement are tax free. So essentially, like, so when I opened mine, I used to, I mean, this was like years ago, I was much younger. I would do $50 a month. And then, like, so that was like after I got paid and all of that, then I would put that money into the Roth account. So that was like after taxes are taken out. And then it just grows. And when I get to retirement age, which I don't really, I mean, it keeps changing, but when you get to retirement age and when you withdraw it, you don't have the taxes opposed to traditional. You contribute that pre tax. So that's pre. You contribute pre tax money now, so it grows tax deferred, but you pay taxes when you withdraw it in retirement. So I think that's the simple thing to realize. Roth is you pay taxes now because you've already paid taxes. It's money after taxes, and then traditional is essentially you skip taxes now and you pay later. But I always one thing I had learned later in life is that there are income limits. So with like Roth, you can I think 2026 you have to check every year. It does change. Essentially, like you contribute if your income is below 153, you basically get phased out. I think it's between 153 168. We'll put it in the notes. Then you can't do it, but traditional there are no income limits on how you can contribute. So I think you just have to be mindful of the year. Check locally every year, like what the income threshold is to see if you could
I
actually.
guess then that begs the question: what's the difference between a traditional IRA and a brokerage account?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, a brokerage account, I mean, I think that's pretty much, well, with the brokerage account, that's a tax because with that one, you do pay, that's after tax dollars as well. So that's after taxes, and you do have to pay, when you take it out, you do have to pay capital gains, and there are tax implications on that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I answer your question? Does that make sense?
Yes, in some way.
Okay. Well, let's move on to how you would open step by step. Like step one, what I kind of alluded to it already, but Kojo, step one, what do you do if you want to open a Roth? And so again, this is after tax dollars.
When you want to open a Roth.
Yes. So check what I'll do it. So check like the step one is what I mentioned before. You would check your eligibility. So make sure your income limits don't apply. So if you make over, I think it's over 153 for 2026, you can't contribute, but there are certain things like backdoor Roths, which we will
Mhm.
not get into today. We will have a financial expert at some point who's very busy come on and speak more to that. But the first step is that you want to check your eligibility that you can even contribute. So that's all. That's the first step.
Okay. Then I guess the next one is what? You want to pick a brokerage account?
Yes.
I guess there are a couple of options that you can look into, right? Like, for instance, I use Fidelity for my brokerage account. Um, sorry, for my Roth account, and that is what I use. But I guess you can use a couple of others, right? You can use Charles Schwab, Vanguard. You can use Robinhood, and all of them. You can use that to kind of manage your Roth contributions, your Roth IRA contributions. Yeah, so that's what I use on my end.
Nice.
Yeah, and also to what Steph was saying, I also used Fidelity, and I think I was using Vanguard probably like last 2 years or so. I didn't really understand how Vanguard kind of worked out for me well, so I had to like put a stop on it. And I would say to everyone listening to this, right? If you can open up a social media account, I'm pretty sure you can open up a Roth IRA account or like a brokerage account. Sometimes we do think that investing is very, very difficult, and that is one of the major, or that was one of the biggest fear why people don't get in the first place, because they don't understand it, and which kind of makes sense. Sometimes when you don't understand certain things, you don't want to get involved into it.
Mhm.
But I think we are here also to help with the little knowledge that we do know about these accounts. That's why we entreat people to do listen to us. So it is very, very easy. If I'm being honest with you, it is not like something super difficult or something super tactical. All that you do need is just a few understanding. Once you open it, right, especially in Fidelity, you can, they give you a whole array of list of things that you, an account that you want to open, right? If you go to www.fidelity.com, it gives you an open account, right? And then on the left hand side, it gives you a whole list of category. It will give you all accounts, most popular, invest and trade, retirement. And sometimes people want to keep it simple. They don't want to get into the weeds of investment because sometimes it can be tough, as I said earlier on. So I think Kojo, I spoke to you. We talked about this like last 3 years about when we started to open up these Roth accounts.
Hmm. Hmm.
It is very, very easy. So you go to this website, you see a Roth IRA. Basically, it's all about retirement. When we talk about Roth IRA, right? And correct me, guys, if I'm wrong. We want to put money somewhere for now so that during our retirement we will be okay, right? And the money that we put in, we invest it, and then it compounds with time. So uh, just just for a few clarifications for our listeners. So let's say you invest $100, right, from age 20 to age 60. It's gonna compound relatively a lot, so that once you get to retirement, you will have a substantial amount of money that you could withdraw tax free, right, Steph?
Mhm. Yep,
For
that's
the
right.
Roth IRA. I think that is the beauty of investment. Unlike if you never put money aside and you hit 60 or you hit the retirement age, things are going to be tough. The world is probably going to be in a whole different scheme. Things are going to be expensive. So just sometimes I feel bad for our predecessors in Ghana or people in Ghana that they never got the chance to open up um, these accounts. But it is what it is. I think back in the days they used to call something like pension, right? So they put money into their pension account. But nowadays I think they changed the name and all that. So it is a very good tool that we we have the knowledge now to be able to also help other people coming up or people that are scared of investing. It will be a good thing for them to do. Yeah. So basically, that is all about the what I or investment in totality. Um, we are trying to educate the public to invest their money now, so that when they get into the retirement phase, life will be a little bit easier for them.
Yeah. Because often retirement feels so far away, but the older I get, and like a lot of my friends, like I have friends who are like turning 50, and it's just weird now because it's like, man, you will get older and like you will want to retire. And it's just like what you do in your youth um, really shows, what happens like the older you get. So the earlier you start, I think that's the biggest takeaway. If anyone takes anything away, is like the earlier you start, the better.
Hmm. 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 Agreed.
Which really moves us into like the next step. So after you open it, is then you want to fund the account, and so you can do one-time deposit. You can set up recurring auto contributions. I used to do like auto contributions. It's really up to you, but like just making sure that you have an actual system to make sure that like it's actually fund, like you're putting money in the account, and then choosing investments like we are not financial planners, we're not financial breakers, so we're not going to tell you like what to do and how to pick it out. You can always get advice, and like I said, we're going to have somebody on to share a little bit more about that. But you just want to make sure that you actually invest the money, because it doesn't invest itself, and so that means that you're going to pick a fund, you're going to pick an individual stock to do it, and there's so many things out there. There's a lot of, like, I know I did like an online course that really taught you how to do that. We're working with a financial planner. Fiduciary is great to work with, but really learning how to actually choose the investments. But don't be intimidated. I think that's where a lot of people get intimidated, because like you think you have to be super knowledgeable, and you do need to know what you're doing to invest. But just like we go to school, or just like we take a course, like teach, read a book, like teach yourself. There's so many like resources out there, or someone who knows someone in your network to help you learn about investing. And then, yeah, set it and forget it. So automate your contributions monthly. That's the easiest thing to do. You always hear that notion of like pay yourself first. And this is what this means. Like you're paying your future self, like you're setting yourself up to be wealthy, to have an easier retirement whenever that will be in the future. So I think getting in the habit now and doing it, like setting it up automatically. And even if I read a book, and one thing they talked about, Atomic Habits, and it's just starting small. So even if it's $5 that you automatically, contribute, then you start with 5, then you start with 10, 50, like you move up, but getting in the habit of actually contributing every month. So that way, the more you make, the more that you're able to contribute. But again, I know some people like to just do one-time deposits as well, and there are limits.
That's good. Side notes, once you start investing, some of the things that happens is you will start, earning some money on some of the investments that you make. A key thing is to always make sure that to make sure that you are reinvesting the dividends you get, like the money you get out of the investments you've made. You take that and put that in, right? Otherwise the profits are just going to sit there without getting reinvested. So just advise people, whenever you invest and you make some money, you take that money and you put it back into the ETFs that you bought.
That's it.
All right, so for the question for you regarding that, so when you automate these processes, right, like I Steph said, set it and forget about it, right? And I know in Fidelity you could set it like your reoccurring account, or like money that every month it should take, let's say, $50 into your account, and then you could also set your uh, your investment also as well, right? So when you said that you should reinvest on the dividends, right? Are you going back into it to invest the money that you got out of whatever
You
the
have
dividend?
to.
Oh,
You
okay.
have to, because what has happened is whatever you set from your bank account going into your account, that is just a standard money that you set two recurring accounts, right? Run from your bank account to your brokerage or Roth IRA account, whichever account that you have. You put the money in, you've told that exact money to be some dollar amount, right? To be invested in an ETF, correct? Now,
Yes.
if that's invested in an ETF, now remember all the money that you have sitting inside your account, that's also generating some money, right? So once that generates that money, that is just going to sit. So you need to take that money and reinvest that,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
Okay.
it's not it's decoupled, right? Like you have to go and you actually see it. Sometimes you open your account and it's literally sitting there, XYZ available to withdraw, right? Or XYZ cash made. Like you'd see it in your Fidelity account, and you take that money and you just use it to buy new stocks again. If you want to, you can withdraw that money, which you just incur the capital gains tax, but you should reinvest that. And I think that's one thing that people forget. Yes, true, you can just dollar cost average and forget about it, but you are making money and it's a profit. you want to make sure that you are reinvesting those profits, because that cannot necessarily be automated. It's hard to automate. You can try, but it's just hard. Reason being, um, one, you you don't know the dollar amount you're going to get each month, depending on how your investments do. So you cannot really figure out what that number is, right? Are you going to say it's 20, right? So you can't really tell. Or are you going to say it's the share value that you're going to reinvest? So I think the best way around that is to basically say, you know, you just have to go in and reinvest that. I'll be honest, that's probably what you want to do, right? That's if you're religious about it. You're very different from someone who just puts in $20,000 and just forgot about it. That's a whole different ball game,
Yeah,
and that's
yes.
not what you're trying to do.
Yeah, yeah. All right, thank you for that. And also, I think to also all our listeners, right? Once you're able to open up Fidelity, like what steps said, right, about making smart money moves or the habits that comes with it. One thing that I think stood out for me with Fidelity is they have a portion where you could start small, so with just $1, right? That every week it's gonna take $1 out of your account and then they will invest it for you, or like it compounds. So I think to people that get scared with stuff like this, you could just do just as little as just $1, and then every week it will move to two. So like it will keep adding up till 52 weeks in the whole year, and then at least all that money will also be invested into the stock market, just to kind of get your feet wet when it comes to investing, and rather than like it's scaring you.
And that makes sense. Yeah, just get your feet wet, get in, and try to invest a bit, and that can make you comfortable with investing. So that's good stuff.
Now, my question for you and Steph, right, is at what point should you start the investment? Do you need to pay all your debt that you do have before you get into this? Or can you, is it vice versa, or can you work hand in hand?
Um, it depends. But it depends. I'll say first you need to cover your debt, right? But sometimes you can have really low interest debt that it does not really matter. For instance, if your car note or house mortgage, you're obviously not going to not invest because you have a mortgage, right? And your mortgage you can take it as good debt or bad debt, depending on how you see it. But if your interest rate on your mortgage is about, 4%, right? But you know that when you put your money in the market, you're getting 8%. That's a delta of 4%. I think that's smart to invest. However, if you have a car note, right, and it's taking all your money, right, it's like a 12% interest rate, you are drowning in debt, or you have a credit card balance and the interest rate's about 20 something percent. For me, the smart thing to do is to pay that off first, because you're not going to out invest high interest rates, high interest debt. You're not going to out invest that. Like, the markets will give you an average of S&P is about 8 to 10% for the past 80 years. um Now, if you do, on a really, really good year, that could probably be, some, if you put your money in some high beta stocks, you're getting what, 17%, close to 20%. Some people can, have a really, really good year of 20 something percent, but it's not consistent. So I wouldn't rely on that, if that makes sense. So for me, it's just a numbers game. You look, if your interest rate is single digits, on any card, whatever you have, and you kind of feel that, on this itself, is going to help, that makes sense to me, right? Like, if you're going to invest in this particular thing and you know that your interest rate is actually going to cover that, that's what we call good debt versus bad debt, then I'd encourage you to invest. But if you have a high interest debt, I wouldn't recommend. You need to pay that off first. And I think it's along the lines of what Dave Ramsey talks about too.
Yes. Yep. You're
Yep,
right.
I agree. Yeah, no, I don't have anything to add to that. I think paying your debts, because the math, like, it just doesn't make sense math wise. So like, paying your debts off make the most sense, and then you can once that's paid off, you can accelerate your investing. And yeah, similar. I think we're all big. Dave Ramsey fans in terms of his baby steps and really focusing on getting that minimum emergency, that $1,000 emergency fund, and then just going, straight to paying off your debts, and then from there really starting selling your investing. Something like that makes the most sense. Get the debts out of the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm. So I actually want to. I mean, I think another like just myth. I think we touched on it before is that you don't need a lot of money to start, but you do need to start. So making sure that you really think about these steps, which quickly like pick three things that you can do this week. So checking your eligibility, picking a brokerage account, and then opening the account. Like all of that will take you less than 30 minutes, maybe if you don't like to, if you don't research too much, but we gave you a few options. But pick at least three things to do on this list to get yourselves started. So I want to move us along, unless you guys don't have anything else to add to this, just to talk a little bit more about smart money moves and side hustles. So, like things that we can do with our money to make sure that we actually have money to fund our um, accounts. And so, I first want to think like for you guys, what are one to two things you feel like you've done well? Um, like, what are some of your smart money moves that you'd want to share with us that you feel like, okay, this says maybe it was simple, easy, but you feel like this kind of helped you um, on your journey to building wealth?
My two is pretty simple, and I think it's well known. Have a written budget, and then leave uh, below your means. So if you stick to your budget, and I think we talked about this on the previous episode about budgeting. Once you know that okay, you get an X amount in, this is your budget, and nothing. You need to budget in a way that it all goes down to zero. Um, every dollar is being accounted for, and also living below your means. You're not keeping up with the Joneses, and I think that is my only biggest advice that it helped me, and I think it will help a lot of people.
Um, yeah, I think for side hustles, I think one of the first ones people asking people think about is like digital marketing, things that you can do alone without any money to start off with. If you want to look into things that you can use to fund your accounts, for instance, some people do social media managing. That's one way to make a quick buck. It's just a matter of if you're interested in doing it. Some people want to look into, um, um, any sort of digital products you can do, like somewhere, using this Amazon thingy whereby they resell products. And that's one way that you can look into some side hustles. And some other quick ones are, Uber, right? Like you can drive an Uber, you can get some money out of it and kind of use that to fund your account. Some people do that religiously. And these are all things that you can start off with without any capital. And that's where you probably start from. Um, the other one is like a pressure washing business, right? Like you can go to people's houses door to door. You have your pressure washer and say, "Hey, I think it might cost you a couple $100 off Facebook Marketplace," and you can go on the door to door, knock on people's door, and say, "Hey, I want to, wash this street, your front area for you." And for some trees, it can be mowing and plowing and a whole array of things, right? Like landscaping, real easy landscaping. But the question becomes, some of these things are not scalable. That's what moves it from a side hustle to a business. So side hustle, for context, is typically you're doing it yourself. It's real low effort. It's real low capital intensive, and you can do that. But the problem is once it starts to scale, it can become very difficult. So if you're looking for the extra buck to fund these accounts, these are places you can look into. Some people do dancing, some people do, gym instructors, like so many little things that you can do that you can get money to fund your accounts.
Are there any side hustles that you've tried that you felt were good? like that were worth it versus because I think sometimes the thing with side hustles, like they're good, but then like there's, time. Like there's still like how do you make time for it versus yes, this is good versus like, oh, this is taking up too much of my time.
So I had two side hustles back in the days, right? When I was a young man, and
You're not young anymore.
no, 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 I was young and vibrant. Um, I used to, my father in law taught me carpentry. So we used to work usually every Saturdays. We make doors, and then he had a few customers, and then we'll go sell it out, make a little back here or there. And it was very, very good. It was a profitable like side hustle that we were getting money out of. And at least it also taught me like a skill as well. And also the second hustle that I was also doing back in the days was mowing lawns. I had a few properties that this guy I spoke with him. He had a few properties, not me. He had a few properties back in the days, and then he gave me a lawnmower. So I'll go over every 2 weekends and then try to mow the lawn, keep the place nice and tidy, and then he would pay me $100. So those were the hassles that I was trying to. At least when I get that, I save it, try to use it for other stuff. But yeah, basically those were the two major things that I was also doing. And I think to Kojo's point, there's this side hustle that people are really gaining a lot out of is garage cleaning. People have a lot of junk in their garage and they don't get rid of their stuff. So I think I looked it up and they said it's making good money. You put yourself out there on Facebook Market that you come to people's houses, you clean up their garages for a fee, and I think people are really making good use out of it.
Yeah, I have not heard of that one, but that's a good one. And also, I would say it's not necessarily a side hustle, but I this other book I was reading, and she was challenging like she's like most people couldn't make $100 in a week, and one of the things she said is like, yeah, you have to figure it out. And I was like, this is a while ago, but I was like, oh, let me see what I have around the house, and I just took photos of like blinds I decided I never wanted, curtains I didn't want, like an old mirror, clothes I never wore, and I just put it on Facebook Marketplace, and like I made some decent money off of it. And so just thinking about like oftentimes we have things within our home that we can use, and I feel like Facebook Marketplace is a really good place to easily sell things. It doesn't have to be super high quality marketing or photos, and it's easy to make quick money off of that as well.
Okay, thank you. So with Facebook marketing, right? Is there any tax situation? Because I think I heard that if you sell it for over a certain amount, you're supposed to pay certain percentage of tax. I'm not really sure about it though, but
Oh, I don't know. I have to look into that.
because I was trying to sell my car, my old car,
Hmm.
and then the dealership was, I don't know if they were trying to con me to sell it to them instead rather than selling it on Facebook market. But they
Hmm.
said there was a dollar amount that if it goes past either $1,000 or something, you're supposed to account for it, or like you have like during your taxes you're supposed to account for that. I'm not so sure about it,
Oh, I'm gonna
but
have to
yeah,
look that
the
up.
Facebook market is great. I shop over there and I love it, and I think it's a good place also to start to sell certain things that you don't need in the house.
Right. I love it. That's great. Yes, I mean, I think that's it, right? So if you start the side hustle, you know that you know where exactly where to put that extra money, and that is using this extra income. It's a great way to start funding your Roth IRA, because again, we want to make sure that the earlier you start, the better it is in terms of like making sure again you're like preparing for your future. Um, so, all right, the next thing, just want to recap again, like our big takeaways are opening the account, automate it, and let time do the work. I think that's my biggest takeaway. That's what I want everyone to walk away because I think that was one of the things we said it all. Like we wanted to invest like much sooner. But to close us out, Kojo and Jeff, like, what's one smart money move you want people to focus on? Um, yeah, what's one advice that you would have around money?
Yeah, with me, I would say try to learn more about money. And I know it could be daunting, it could be scary at first, but if you just take a step back, you take it slow, there's no pressure. Wherever that you are in life, just remember that there is no pressure on you. Just take it slow, learn, do more research about investing, do more research about budgeting, or anything that it involves money. I would say learn more about it because nowadays we live in an day and age where everything is on social media or everything is on the internet, and
Hmm.
we could find more knowledge about stuff. So I think that is an advice that I can give to everyone.
Love it. Learn, get the knowledge, get the wisdom. Kojo, what about you?
Um, yeah, I mean, trying to live below your means. I know it's hard, but trying to maintain the same lifestyle that you have, so that any extra dollar that you get, you can invest it, so that you prepare yourself to early retirement. I think that's the one biggest thing that people can do for themselves. It's hard, and we're all trying, but if people can do that, I think that'll be very helpful.
Yeah. And I think knowing your number, right? I think we talk about this a lot. Sometimes, like, retirement, it seems so far away. But, like, if you don't want to work till 65, or I think it's 70 is now the retirement age, then, like, what's your number? And work towards that number. And when I say what's your number, is like, how much do you need to live off of in retirement? And then what are going to be the wealth building things that you're going to be doing to get there? So is it, excuse me, living beyond your means? Some of you may have heard of the FIRE movement, which is early financial freedom, early retirement. And these are individuals who are like, yep, I want to retire in my 30s, 40s. And I know this one story I heard of this guy who lived in New York. He made pretty good money. I think he was like a little over like 250, but he wouldn't turn on his heat in the winter time because for him, he wanted to save every penny because he wanted to retire. I think it was like 35. It was extreme. Some people are extreme, so you don't have to be extreme. But what's your number, and then like what are your actual goals to like work towards that, right? So, and it can be simple things from like automating your savings, right, and your investing. So it's almost invisible, right? It becomes a habit, right? It's building your emergency fund before you start investing, aggressively. Taking advantage of your employer 401k match, right? That's free, air quotes, like free money. Avoiding high interest debt before investing, getting a high yield savings account, like being really, like Jeff said, the zero based budget, like knowing where every penny is going, reviewing your subscriptions, like what's happening every quarter, but like what are the steps that you're going to take towards savings and towards like your retirement, whether that is 65, whether that's 35, 45, 55, whatever your number is. But be intentional. So I think that's the smart money moves, like just being more intentional with your money and where it's going. That's
Awesome, awesome.
that's what I
Thank you.
am.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. So please remember to subscribe, leave us a review, follow us on social media. Please submit a topic, right? We want to hear from you. Again, this is just everything that we have learned. We are not experts. We are still learning ourselves, and we just want to share things that maybe we didn't hear along the way. But we want to hear from you in terms of like what topics that you want to learn more about, and we promise we're going to be bringing on an expert again to give us more insight into our finances. Kojo, Jeff, any final thoughts?
I think yeah, we are gonna do great, and I wish everybody that, as I said, in their own no pressure, we can do this together.
Good.
All right. Sounds good. And happy 4th of July to everyone. Take care.
Bye.